Yes, the Jambo KOT, how are you today?
I'm good bana. Tuambie.
Asante sana. When I was checking my notifications just before I would switch off for the day, then I saw these about grassroots civic education, and I thought to just pop in before I retire. Yeah, so thank you. I think it's a good initiative, grassroots civic education. Yeah, to those in the call, I think I came in when Prof. Kibwana was speaking. Good insights from there. And all who have gone. My name is I'm Dr. Duncan Onyango. I am an engineer by profession. I specialize in water and environmental engineering. I teach at the Technical University of Kenya School of Chemical and Environmental Engineering. So we have been together in the trenches with KOT and many others during this revolution. And I am glad with the way things are shaping up right now, especially the topic at hand today, where we are now moving this conversation beyond these spaces down to mwananchi at the very grassroots level. So that really elates me, because that is where this revolution belongs. The mwananchi at the grassroots level. I was talking to some people and I was telling them that this gospel of change must be preached to all villages for a witness, then shall the change come. I'm sure those who read the Bible understand me in that context. So this message must go down to the common mwananchi. When we talk about these the punitive agriculture bills that have been proposed in parliament, that message must go down to Wanjiku and to Wanyama and to Otieno and to everyone at the grassroots level, so that they can be able to understand what this holds for them. And I was glad earlier in the week I was somewhere in Embu, a village called Githemu, and we were there. We had actually been invited to go and speak to the congregation on a funeral. I hadn't imagined that I will be standing one day doing a civic education in a funeral. Oh, by the way, KOT, it was one of the young men you sent me during the Nani Nani revolution. Remember that young man that came all the way from Embu? And I received him in the night and hosted him. Unfortunately, he lost his mom. And he insisted that, hey, I want you to come, and I want you to come with a team, so that even though we are mourning, but I want you to pass a strong message to the people of Embu. And I was glad the way the ground is very receptive to these issues of change. We were able to inject a lot there, and even talk to them directly about these issues that are happening, including the Murima politics that are currently ongoing. And people are very receptive to this message down there. So it's a clear indication to us that really they told us clearly that you guys need to come here more often, come and talk to us, let us know what is happening. And when you talk to them about the things we are doing, like on these agriculture bills, now we are talking about the horticultural crops authority bill, they are really wondering, are you sure this is what is happening? Yeah, mbona hatujawahi sikia? So, and when you sit them down, take a moment and explain it, break it down to them, they really appreciate and they really get to understand that message. So I think that is where that is the direction that now the movement is taking, and we need to have more and more of us talking about it. Then yesterday I was invited to speak to a comrades forum at my own Technical University of Kenya, where we had about more than 300 comrades, and I was talking to them about the things that affect them. We just had the whole issue of university funding, and we were actually wondering that why does the country seem to be retrogressing? If 30 years ago university education was free, yeah, and people would learn for free and eat for free at the mess and still be given boom. But then now, in 2002, primary education was free. we would be expecting that by now we would be talking about free secondary education and even free university education, but that is not the situation. So those are some of the things we were discussing with them. And they, just like the village in Embu, even the university students there, really, because there were issues that were talking to them. In fact, we just finished a strike that we had industrial action that ran for a whole month at the Technical University of Kenya because systems were not working. So these are issues that affect them directly, and they sit down, they're willing to listen, and they ask you, what can we do as young people to be able to change the situation, or is it that all is lost? So I think one thing again that we have to do is to tell these people that all is not lost. The power lies with us, and we are the change that we need. So finally, maybe just an overview of what we are doing. We have heard about the agriculture bills, the nut and oil crops bill, the agricultural professionals bill. Now, Sabina Chege recently introduced the horticultural crops authority bill. And if you read some of those bills, they are meant to take away food sovereignty from the farmer. And a lot of authority is being given to government agencies, the minister, and now even the new authorities that are proposed to be created, such that to be able to do some simple things like planting your vegetables and taking them to the market, you are told that you need a license that you renew annually to be able to do that. And failure to do so, you could be subject to imprisonment for up to 3 years and even a fine of up to 1 million. So how you would go to be able to implement this with a mama mboga down in the village to be able to do such things? So when we put out a call, we had a space last week that was hosted by KOT here, and people overwhelmingly reached out to us after that. I think even the Ministry of Agriculture released a statement trying to distance themselves from those bills, that tumesikia vitu kwa mtandao. We want to tell you that those bills do not originate from the ministry, but the reality is that those bills are in Parliament, and if passed, they are going to have far-reaching implications on our food sovereignty. So there we placed a general call, and within 24 hours, so many Kenyans had come on board. In fact, there was a WhatsApp group that we put up for people who are interested, lawyers, farmers, friends of farmers, people from different other professions that support farmers. And we were overwhelmed by the numbers. Within less than 24 hours, we had to create a community so that we could be able to accommodate more people. Kenyans who are just coming up to say we want to stand in solidarity with farmers to say no to these bills. So we are going to have another space with them on Monday, and to be able just to hear what Kenyans, these many Kenyans who have shown interest, have to say. And then on Tuesday, we are going to hold a media conference with various media houses and a few interested parties in Nairobi at the Clarion Hotel. And we will be able to chart the way forward of how we are going to. A team of lawyers have already volunteered to be able to take legal action against some of these bills, and we will be able to chart the way forward. Just do everything that we can do to be able to protect the common mwananchi and our food sovereignty as a country. So when you see our channels, the campaign is dubbed Kilimo cha Haki, and it is what is now going out there. So you will see a lot about Kilimo cha Haki, and when we hold the media conference on Tuesday morning, we will be telling Kenyans, breaking it down one by one, what these bills hold for us and why we think they should be relooked at for the best interest of the country and the common mwananchi who is involved in farming in the villages. So that's what we are up to. Thank you very much, KOT, for this chance, and all the people on board. Let's team up together and sustain this protest spirit all the way to be able to bring change in this country. The change that we need lies with us. And if we don't fight for it, if we don't do it, if we don't step out and do all the heavy lifting and the dirty work that is required to do it, nobody will do it for us. Yeah, I was telling my friends that whatever it takes now, where we have reached, whatever it takes, we must be able to be willing to do it, to be able to bring the change we want. If it will require people to organize themselves in civics, in justice centers and civil society groups, be willing to do that. If there are people who can organize themselves politically to be able to fight towards that change, do not hesitate to go in that direction, because we know that even in as much as we can fight and we can agitate and we can do all these things, ultimately the ballot is coming in 2027, and if we are not careful, these people will use the stolen resources that they have, the state power that they unleashed against us during the revolution, the political experience that they have. If we do not organize ourselves properly, we may end up in a worse situation. And you can imagine if Ruto is treating us like this in his first term, when he still expects to be elected in 2027, how worse would this regime be if they were supposed to get a second term, when they're not looking forward to any election but just to finish and go? So we must wake up and do all that it takes. If it will require us to go back to the streets at some point in time to put more pressure, be willing to do that. If it requires you to step out of your comfort zones, like I stepped out of my comfort zone. I have had a lot of my friends challenging me, Duncan, you are too young. You still don't settle. Don't be comfortable with what you're doing at the university. Step out of class. One politician told me, Duncan, what are you doing in class? Step out. If you will stay in class, and this country will be unsustainable for you. Because even right now, we were fighting for money, we are fighting for pension, we were fighting for medical cover. Imagine you are a lecturer, you have taught, I know Professor Kibwana here taught in the university, I saw his post, he was saying 25 years before, and now he's back. A professor who has been in the university maybe for 30 years, 35 years, then you are told that your pension fund has collapsed when you are just at the verge of retirement. And all these years, monthly, your deductions are taken for pension. The government is supposed to contribute and the university is supposed to contribute a similar amount. You multiply that by 35 years for all the 1,700 staff we have at TUK, and you are told that those deductions did not end up at the pension fund, and ultimately the pension fund collapsed. So those are the kind of atrocities, the kind of messes that people in power are doing. Yet we have just been quiet in our comfort zones as the middle class. So we must arise, do everything possible that we can do. And for me, I stepped out because I got the challenge and I said, I will, whatever it takes, I will do so that we can be able to get there. So thank you very much, KOT, and may God bless us as we continue with the fight. Asante sana.
Okay, thank you so much, Duncan, and may God bless you for the good work you're doing. And I really appreciate, guys, if you don't know Duncan, I met him on this platform. And remember, during Nane period, we were doing some fundraise to bring people to Nairobi for the protest. And personally, I brought a lot of people from outside Nairobi. Some of them came from Nyanza, others from Coast, others from Mount Kenya, and so there are some guys who popped in Nairobi at 1 a.m. Yeah, because they had missed their first vehicle, and so I had to pay for them the other vehicle. And when they popped in, I wasn't ready to even accommodate them because I had already given out the accommodation spaces to those who came earlier, na zilikuwa zishaisha. And so I posted on this platform that I want someone to help me accommodate some people. And so Duncan called me on my WhatsApp number. It was at 2 a.m. And he said, give them my number, they can come at my place. We don't know those people. He don't know them. He don't know me. We've never met. And so I just believed him. And so he accommodated those people. Hey, anyway, hizi maspace bana, tunakutana tu hapa, ni Mungu anatuleta pamoja. So Mweru, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I don't
13 hours behind. But I really wanted to just thank you guys. I've been following what you and Morara and the team are doing. I just had a conversation with some comrades here in the diaspora, and they have started following you guys, and they're also in shock of the things that you guys are basically exposing. So, I mean, we really appreciate your efforts and everything you guys are doing. I know you're basically literally sacrificing your lives by doing this, because we know what kind of animals we have in office. So we don't take it for granted. But I mean, it just saddens me. I mean, it really is a sad situation, to be honest. For the guys that I hear that in the diaspora, I'm personally in the United States. And when you live in a country where, I mean, let me just first of all just put it out there. There's no perfect system. There's no country that runs perfectly. But when you live in a country where things actually work and function like they're actually supposed to, the roads are built and maintained like they're supposed to. And then you watch videos of roads whose monies have been designated and just stolen. And these people have no shame. They have no shame. They have no regard for human life. They have no respect for Kenyans whatsoever. We understand they're morally bankrupt. We don't expect them to operate in any essence or any form of character, because they don't have any. They're completely depleted of any form of decency. And they just steal the money, and they can just live their life watching people around them suffering while they're stealing and stealing and stealing. This really, I cannot even wrap my mind around this. We are trying to calculate how much money they have stolen. We can't even keep up. And to me, my request is, what if they just don't steal from Kenyans for 1 year? Just 1 year. Just 1 year. Like 1 year they don't steal from Kenyans. If every day we're losing 2 billion in corruption, if they just don't steal for 1 year, we're going to have at least 730 billion. If they don't steal for us, and they can put that money into the roads. Seriously, how do they expect Kenyans? How? And then they have the nerve to come here the other day. I hope he has gone back to Kenya, because I don't even understand what he's doing in the US. I don't understand how we have a president who is stealing constantly and then wasting money. It's like he does not understand that every time he makes a trip, he is wasting more money, and then on top of that, he's going to still go back and steal. Like, they have no form of decency. It's just disgusting. It just pisses me off all the time. Like, we need to get them out of office, and we don't just need to get them out of office. We need to get them out of office and throw them in prison. And I think even throwing them in prison is basically just being nice to them, because they deserve the capital punishment. How do you see people suffering? The hospitals are not built. The roads are not built. All the infrastructure is going to shit, basically. Education is a joke. And they have the nerve to board a plane and come here to the US to make a speech to the UN. Like, that is so important. I mean, come on. This guy, he just irritates me. Just how, I mean, they just misappropriation. He has no priorities. Like, the human life in Kenya, he has no time for it. So, I mean, I agree with one thing that I love with, I think it's the previous speaker that mentioned that, especially with these bills that they're passing and trying to pass, that we need to put a stop to, that you guys are having a press conference to educate people. I love this, because we need to just do whatever we can at this point. And there's one particular bill that they passed that we need to really pay keen attention to. I hosted a space, co-hosted rather previously, about a week ago, and we were discussing the IEBC. And after that, I advise people we need to read this IEBC Act of 2024 that Ruto signed, because all these bills that they're passing obviously are for malicious agendas. And as we proceed with the civic education, I hope people will start fighting. I mean, to get this IEBC up and running, because we need to start recalling some of these idiots we have as MPs that are not serving us. All these people who are proposing these bills that are just meant to just rob and suppress and oppress Kenyans, we need to recall all of them. So while we have these conversations about civic education, we need to figure out a way to get the IEBC up and running. I'm starting to really get very worried about this. So anyway, let me just be quiet for now and keep listening. But I just thank everybody who is trying their best to play their part, everybody who is actually even making an effort to play their part, whatever it is that you're doing, because at the end of the day, it's going to have to be a teamwork. Even if we're in the diaspora, we have a role to play here in this.
Okay, so thank you, Meru. I wanted to bring Toria, but I just want to go through your comments. I can see Anthony is saying, adding on to what Kioti Songo and the team are doing at the grassroots, each of us in these spaces spread across the country and across the world must act as multipliers of needed civic education with those we interact with continuously. Grassroots is where we all where we all reside. And then kuna Msena Mangombe saying, we shall do like Martin Luther King. If you can run, run. If you can run, run. If you can walk, just walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, scream it out. Any of these are steps and will be felt. Alafu kuna admin anaitwa Aaron Adimao, he's saying, ushago nimeona chiefs wamewekwa na rada about this livestock bill. And then we have Vamineta the Guna is saying, how does civic education eradicate illiteracy, poverty, joblessness? Because these are the three pillars of politicians' stronghold on power. Kuna anaitwa Mwaniki J.O. is saying Kioti Songo and Morara, welcome Ukambani. Yeah, we'll come there soon. And he's also asking that you should follow him. He has only 14 followers. And then I can see Believer saying, Kioti, can you add your number so that we can send you kidogo to support you? You guys should support me, bana. Leo karibu tukwame mahali and someone came in with 1,000 tukaweka mafuta. I hope you guys saw it because I shared on this platform. So if you can support. Yeah, that's exactly what you need to do, because without support, we're going nowhere. And so, Believer, I'll do that soon. To nipatie Toria to run the conversation. Toria.
Yes. Thank you, KOT and Mweru, for the space, and everyone who has sacrificed their time to join us now. The topic of the day is grassroots civic education.